This is the Retirement Bullpen with Richard Warner. The team at Warner Financial Solutions want to help you feel confident about your retirement, no matter where you stand. Get more at warnerfinancialsolutions.com. Now, the Retirement Bullpen.
Welcome back to the Retirement Bullpen. I am here with our host, Richard Warner. Richard is an investment advisor representative, certified retirement income professional, and owner of Warner Financial Solutions. You can learn more at warnerfinancialsolutions.com. Richard, how are you?
Doing great, Alyssa. How are you doing today?
Doing well. We are in full baseball season. I know you are in terms of coaching, and certainly the MLB is back in full swing. And I thought there was an interesting parallel between America's favorite pastime and a similar strategy that can be applied to retirement. And I wanted to play this little clip from financial author Patrick Kelly and get your thoughts.
I think people feel like they need to hit home runs or grand slams to win this retirement game, and it's not true. All they need to do is hit singles and doubles over and over and over again, getting on base over and over and over again, and never taking a loss. I mean, think about it. We're using the baseball analogy a little further. If you could hit a single every single time and never strike out, you're going to win that game.
So I know just before we hit record, we were talking about baseball, and I was sharing our 10-year-old's travel team revenge story that they lost 13-3 on Saturday in pool play and played that same team again on Sunday heading to the championship and beat them 25-2. And the way we did it was just that same strategy. We just kept hitting singles and doubles over and over and over. Every kid that came up made contact and got on base. Talk to me about that bridge and how that same strategy can be applied when it comes to planning for retirement.
Well, there's a lot of things to deal with in retirement, and volatility is a big one. The more risk you take, the more volatility you're going to experience. And that's, again, going to his analogy, that's where people are trying to hit home runs, because throughout life in accumulation phase, a lot of people are trying to hit those home runs. They see those big returns year in, year after, but they're consistently adding funds to those accounts, which helps offset some of the downturns, some of the downside. So they don't get the real feel of what it's really like to then start utilizing those funds and living off those funds for income during those ups and downs in retirements. So the singles and doubles approach tends to be much more effective because those strikeouts can really affect you in retirement, especially if you're taking a withdrawal rate of some significance when the market is down. So you got to be careful with that.
How does the strategy for retirement planning change when they're, at later innings, if you would? If they're, innings 7, 8, 9 in terms of retirement, we're in it, it's later in the game. What does that look like as opposed to when you're just on the cusp, we're early on in our retirement?
Great question. So let's back up just a little bit and look at the accumulator first real quickly, just in a little more depth. So somebody my age, somebody your age, somebody a little bit younger, we're still in accumulation phase. The volatility of the market actually benefits us. Mm-hmm. When the market is down and we are constantly contributing, if history repeats itself, we're going to end up way ahead in the future, because when it's down, when it's volatile, we're accumulating more shares because we're buying shares on sale. Mm-hmm. The shares we own, even if they come down, yes, the price tag or the value of the account's going to show less, but we don't own less shares. Mm-hmm. So when that price is less, the more shares we can buy with the same amount of money. So as time goes, it begins to grow, and we see a compounding effect later on to where we look back like, wow, how did I accumulate all this money? It's that consistently buying up and down in the market.
Right.
Now, when we switch to a retirement, the problem a lot of folks have, especially your do-it-yourself investors or individuals maybe utilizing an advisor or broker who is more of a buy and hold type of entity, where it's just sitting there. When they're taking that same approach and the market is down, they are pulling money out now. So they are selling shares on sale, not buying.
Right.
So you can undo very quickly what you have really built over a long period of time by taking too much out in a down market. So now, how do we alleviate that? It's actually pretty simple. if you can imagine in your mind 2 buckets, okay? I have a bucket here for market risk, market growth, accumulation. I have a bucket here for can't lose money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just keep it that simple. The market does not affect it on the downside. Okay,
Sure.
Could be bank accounts, could be CDs, could be annuities, could be all sorts of different things.
Mm-hmm.
Can't lose. All right. If you look at it from the simplistic point of view and you create a plan that says, okay, what do I need on an annual basis? What do I need on a monthly basis to supplement what I know is coming in? So maybe you have Social Security coming in. Most people do. Some people may have a pension on top of that. What is that gap you need? Okay. We figure out what that gap is, and then we take a withdrawal out of one or both of those accounts, depending upon what's going on in the market. If the market's down, we want to leave our market-based account alone if we can. Okay.
Right.
Why? Because we don't want to sell shares on sale. Okay. Now we can even take that to another step in that account, and we can diversify it and actively manage it to minimize some of that volatility. But let's just take simplistic view. It's just going up and down.
Right.
If we stay away from that account when it's down, we're not selling any shares on sale. When those shares come back up, we really haven't lost anything. If we have a place to draw, that's where people get into trouble, is they don't have a place to pull money out when the market is down.
Mm-hmm.
And so having that other bucket to pull from really alleviates the vast majority of those issues. Not always, because there could be extended periods of time where you draw too much out and your fixed bucket just gets run too low. There are possibilities that happen, but it significantly reduces the risk for that to happen.
Is having that additional bucket or additional buckets, in staying with the baseball analogy, sort of similar to having the DH that comes in because you know his ratings against this pitcher are better, or you have that reliever that comes in, you bring in the lefty to face Aaron Judge because you know he's got a better shot of striking him out. You have these other alternative options so that you're not just dependent solely on that initial lineup.
That's a really good example, because in baseball, you do have a lot of role pieces that their job is to do this. A designated hitter is going to bat for the pitcher because the pitcher can't hit, at least at the professional level. That's not necessarily true at the college and high school level, but at the professional level, it tends to be. You're going to have pinch hitters that come in certain scenarios that are good against certain pitchers. You're going to have certain pitchers that come in that are good against certain types of hitters.
Right.
And that same principle does apply to this as well. That fixed account is really that specialist that's designed when the market is down, because historically, most years the market's not down.
Right.
But there are those times it is, and there's those periods historically, for example, of 2000 to 2010. The market was very, very volatile and stayed down, specifically the S&P 500, that period of time. And if you'd have taken regular withdrawals out of the S&P 500, you would have significantly eaten away at your shares over a long period of time. A lot of people in that period of time, especially when 2008 hit, had to go back to work because they ate up too much of their investments because they didn't have a plan in place for something like that to happen, because it never had, at least for a long, long time.
Right.
And that specialist or that plan really helps protect you to the best possible. Again, no guarantees in life. There's no way to 100% protect everything, but it helps create a scenario that gives you some options versus just depending upon the market to go back up.
Talk to me about the role of a financial advisor in this, because it is a lot like a manager that helps sort of see it from the 30,000-foot view, right? You are looking at all of the pieces of someone's portfolio versus being the player that's in it, maybe looking at the scoreboard going, I don't know if we've got this. It's not going our way. And the manager can sort of go, but if we replace these pieces or change these pieces or go over here, we have a chance to come back and win this game. The same is true for a financial advisor looking at someone's portfolio. You're going to see things in a different way than somebody who's riding the emotional roller coaster of, I don't like to see my 401k dip.
Right. So I think a lot of people, and I think it's becoming a lesser effect, but I think a lot of people still see financial advisors as investment salesmen. And there's a lot of them out there that are investment salesmen, whether they're selling mutual funds, they're selling stocks, they're selling annuities, whatever it might be. A financial advisor needs to be your coach. And a financial advisor needs to be somebody you can go to with your situation, fully disclose what's going on, what you want out of that. then they can help you see that higher level view, if you will, help you through some of the emotional ups and downs, because retirement can be very emotionally difficult, especially investing. Not necessarily in other areas, but investing can be very emotional, people, because they've saved their whole life. They've accumulated this pile of money and they don't want to go back to work.
Right.
Most of them. So the fear of losing that money, the fear of not having enough, the fear of taking too much. A good financial advisor can give you a sensible withdrawal rate, help you create a management style that fits your emotions, help you create the safety that fits your emotions, because a lot of people don't need to take that much risk because they have plenty in retirement. So why take it? Why lose sleep over it if you can generate the income you need with minimal risk? Why take it? And so that's where they can become almost like a business coach, a psychologist, a baseball coach, whatever you want to look at, just somebody to help through the ups and downs of everything they're going to deal with financially in retirement.
How often should retirees be revisiting the plan? Certainly sticking with this baseball analogy, there are ups and downs in games. There are unexpected things that happen. A call doesn't go your way. You make an error. The ball gets between your legs. I'm talking 10U baseball here that I was watching all weekend.
It happens in high school too, trust me.
It happens. It happens. We see it in the majors even. You're like, really, guys? You get a lot of money to catch that ball. Go get it. But it happens. Things don't go your way. How often should retirees be sitting down with their advisor to sort of look at the plan, make sure they're on track, or what scenarios should send them into the office and go, okay, we've got to come up with a better game plan. Something's got to change.
So I would say at a minimum once a year, and a lot of people that's appropriate for. A lot of people that's appropriate simply because their gap between what they have coming in, their expenses is so small. The once a year touching base, at least face to face. Now, a lot of times there's calls throughout the year, but
sure,
touching base once a year is plenty to see. Yes, this is how my funds are doing. This is my withdrawal rate. This is where I'm at. Even after taking withdrawals, things are going okay. Now, there's some scenarios that need, I think, more attention. The biggest one probably is folks that take a high withdrawal rate. So maybe you're retiring and you have just enough, hypothetically, to make it through retirement. Again, the big question of that is we don't know how long we're going to be in retirement because we don't know when we're going to die.
Right.
But you utilize hypotheticals. You use different statistics and things like that to figure that stuff out as best as you can. But there's people that retire and they're just right on the fringe. Yes, you can, but it's something we're going to have to be careful with. We're going to have to stay on top of. So those should be reviewed a little bit more often, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 times a year. Again, dependent upon withdrawal rate, dependent upon what's going on in the market, and dependent upon the surprises. So the third type is somebody that's continually running in with surprises. Like I have this expense, I have that expense, or in the planning phase said they were going to spend X, Y, Z in retirement, but are really spending A, B, C, D, E, F, G in retirement. And now we're eating away at the assets a lot quicker than what was planned. That's something that needs to be addressed quickly as well, because if you're not sticking to the plan, you're likely going to run out of money.
And certainly I would imagine any major life event, if there's been a death of a spouse or late in life divorce inheritance comes in. Well, yeah, it doesn't always have to be a bad thing, right? You could have bonus money come your way. You didn't know that great uncle liked you more than you thought.
Right.
But there are other things that would trigger that as well.
Those are really good examples. Yeah. Anytime something dramatically changes, kids having emergencies, I see this more and more. I run into more and more clients whose retirements are quite honestly getting depleted because they can't say no to their kids.
Wow.
Because their kids aren't responsible with their money and they're spending their parents' money as well. Now, some folks, they've got plenty and it's not a big deal, but there's plenty of them out there that they're on that fringe of you can't afford to give away 5-6 figures every single year. I know 6 figures sounds a lot, but it happens.
Yeah.
Because somebody's not responsible. And are they going to learn to be responsible if this continues? Probably not.
Do you have those tough conversations with clients if you're seeing them set themselves up for a situation that in the long haul will be detrimental to them? Are you somebody that will sit down and say, hey, we might need to look at that?
I have no choice. I have to be, because ultimately I am responsible for their outcome. And if I told them this was going to work according to ABC, but XYZ is going on, I also have to explain to them this will not work if you continue to do this. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't. I always preface that with, this is your money. If you want to pull it all out and spend it today, you can. Right. But when you call next week for more, I'm not going to have any to send you.
Right.
So there's only so much I can do. So yeah, unfortunately they are tough conversations. And the vast majority of people, it's not something you have to have a conversation with, but there's some out there, and it's never fun, and you got to be careful how you do it, but it needs to be done.
Of course. Well, as we know from watching any baseball game, championships aren't won in a single inning, and the same can be true for retirement. If you are looking for personalized guidance, you can schedule a complimentary consultation with Richard by visiting WarnerFinancialSolutions.com. And if you have a baseball fan in your life that also needs a little retirement advice, go ahead and share this episode. We found a fun way to connect the two, and we'd love it if you come back next time. Thanks so much for joining us.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Warner Financial. Warner Financial is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Warner Financial are not subject to investment advisor requirements. NPN number 7617022. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be considered as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Warner Financial is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Warner Financial.